you came to our rescue because we had this listing come up in Huntingtown and we really needed to put a signpost on it because it's one of those listings that just needed to be on the market ASAP. So I can't tell you how grateful we are for your company to coming in to, I guess, be like that knight in shining armor for us. No one really understands outside of this business how important those signposts are.
Oh yeah,
they really are. So why don't you let us know how that works? So on my end as a realtor, some realtors actually put their own post up. I don't. I've always had a third party take care of that for us. So usually on our end, we make the appointment, we make a call, we give the information about the home. And I think on your end, it's a little bit, sometimes it can be complicated, right? Because you have to call I forget the name of that company.
Oh, Miss Utility.
Miss Utility, not
Yeah.
Miss Utility. And what's the purpose of calling Miss Utility for that signpost?
So they will come out and mark where water lines, electric, and like cable or telephone lines are to kind of give me an idea so I can avoid those. A lot of it's deeper than we usually dig anyway, but it's just kind of to be cautious that we don't do any service interruption, obviously, if people in the neighborhood or of course the person at the actual listing. But that's why when we a lot of times we put an order in, there's like a 3-day window. Sometimes we can get it done a little quicker, or if an emergency arises, we kind of go out and use our best judgment. But
yeah, I remember one time we had a listing out in Reston, Virginia, and I don't remember who the company was, but they put the post up and hit some sort of water line of some sort. And oh my goodness, that was just
yeah,
a nightmare.
one of the ones is like underground sprinklers are tough because there's no way to mark for those. So if you know that they have an underground sprinkler, sometimes we get lucky and the homeowner might have a little copy of like the layout from when it was installed. But if it's not the original homeowner, a lot of times that's missing. But I'm digging by hand, so most of the time, very seldom do we run into one of those.
And honestly, I don't know if it was an underground sprinkler or what it was they hit, but after that incident occurred, which was many, many years ago, I think maybe 2015 that happened, or 2014, I was like, okay, this company needs to definitely be called so that this doesn't happen again. So it takes about, let's get back to where we were talking about. So you're saying it takes about 3 days from the order when it's placed to when the post is actually.
Right. Like if you go in and put in your order, my system will automatically give you a date of like 3 days out, not counting weekends or holidays, to give me time to log in and ask for them to do the locate before I go out. But obviously sometimes we, get one sort of last minute or whatnot.
And then is there a particular place that you guys keep all your posts, or how do you?
Yeah, I have a little warehouse building in Waldorf that I rent, and that's where all my posts are. And then excuse me, we have a shelving system with each shelf is numbered with there's 3 different rows of like riders at the top on the small shelf, and then panels on different sections. And when we get a new client, or when you add signs to your inventory, we take the picture and we'll assign it a shelf space and have a small little tiny sticker in one corner that has a part number so that we can track all of them. And so when I go out, put them out, it'll tell me which shelf to get it off of to put it in the truck. And then when the listing's done, and we take it down, when I click through the computer that the removal's done, when I get back to the warehouse and I go in my return section, it'll tell me which panels go on which shelf number.
Wow, look at you guys all have like a system in place and everything else. I mean, it goes to show how much work you don't really know the work that gets put in. Like you don't know the back end of the job. You just see that, okay, order the post and then it magically goes out, but there's just so much that happens behind the scenes. Now for yourself, I guess your business would be a good context clue as to how the market is, the real estate market. Because obviously if it's a good seller's market, you guys are like crazy putting posts everywhere, versus if it's not, you're kind of slow. So
right, or you get a good idea of how long things are on the market at this point. Like I mean, obviously in the winter it's always a little slower, it seems. But like over the summer, there was sometimes when I remember I would they'd order a sign on a Monday and it'd be Thursday and I'd be going out to put it up, and the homeowner is like, go ahead and put it up, I guess, in case something falls through, but we already got an offer. And like, oh, it just went live on Tuesday. Like, what happened? Or, it'd be, we'd put get an order, put a sign up and be back to take it back down. And there'd be a U-Haul truck and the people were moving in within like a week and a half, 2 weeks. Sometimes it seemed like it was very weird. But
so that you would say that you notice that mostly in 21 and 22?
Yeah, I would say like, I mean, especially beginning of like last summer, it was moving real quick. It seemed like.
And when did you see it to start slow down?
I mean, I think like I say, so I know it's slower now because it's winter anyway, but I would say the listings are maybe staying out a little bit longer, than it was. The number of listings, I or a number of posts that I'm putting up, is just probably a little bit lower, but I think it's like sort of the normal drop off for the winter, as
Sure.
far as I can tell from like a year before. So I just bought the company in March,
Mhm.
but the two people that had it before me for like 4 or 5 years before that, I know both of them personally, so I kind of like have an idea of how it was going as far as even when I didn't own it. But I mean, I would say, yeah, like there was a little, like I said, there was a little spot last summer where it was put it out and go back and get it, put it out and go back and get it very quickly.
So
It seemed like.
you actually, believe it or not, you it's almost like you own the key to many cities in real estate, because you really know which parts of the market sell quickly, which parts have more listings versus not.
Oh, definitely.
So it's very interesting just hearing you talk about that. I'm just realizing, wow, they really know. They have, if anybody has a finger on the heart of the market, it would be signpost installers, honestly. I
Yeah,
mean, you figure it out by the time the listing's already signed and stuff, but at the same time, you have an understanding of, where those markets are and where it's shifting. So
mhm.
that's very fascinating. So speaking of locations, what locations do you guys normally work in?
So I do, I mean, I say the majority of my work is Charles County, Calvert County, St. Mary's County, good bit of like lower Prince George's County, Anne Arundel County. But of course, like I don't do a lot of like I don't do a lot of work in like Montgomery or Virginia or like Baltimore. If it's an agent who always deals in that area, I don't usually have them because
Sure.
they would all be a little bit more for that mileage, and it just wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
But when I have a lot of my folks that are majority in this area, Southern Maryland side, if they get that random listing once in a while, or like I've had some folks who are like, hey, we sold somebody a house before, or we sold their old house and they moved up north, like near Baltimore, and now they're moving again. They want me to sell their new house, even though it's not their normal area. They'll just say, hey, how much more is it to go up to there, and put up a sign. And so, I mean, like I probably have 4 or 5 like in Baltimore right now in the city that are just agents that most of their work's down here, and they just have that random listing, or sometimes they'll get contracted to do like a bank owned property or something.
How about Howard County? You didn't mention Howard County.
I mean, I've been up there. Like I said, I don't go there very often.
Sure.
It's usually like if someone majority works that area, then they probably use the other sign tracker office in Gaithersburg. So that's the original office. So I own Southern Maryland Sign Tracker, but like the software that was developed that like you went on to order, and the things that we use for the inventory and all the billing and stuff, the original guy in Gaithersburg used to do it years and years ago, notebook, paper, and pen, and take phone calls and write down where the addresses were, and then go at the end of the month and get all his notebook papers together and send bills out to people and wait for them to write him checks or whatever. And his brother's a software developer, and so he made the program. So the original office is the Gaithersburg one, and then I have the Southern Maryland one, and there's people that license the software throughout the country to do it. So but like he's the original person, him and his brother. So like they usually handle most of that Howard stuff, but I go up there, and like I say, if it's one of my people that mostly work here and just have that random listing that might be up that way.
Sure. And I think Southern Maryland actually might be, based on the clientele that I have, a lot of them are moving to Southern Maryland because of price.
Yeah,
Size of
there's some
home.
pockets that are still pretty reasonable, and then there's some that are
They're
expensive.
getting up there, but even at the prices the way they're going, it's still less than what most people pay for in Northern Virginia.
Right. It's I look at it as you get that little better deal if you don't mind that little longer commute. I mean, not everybody's commuting, to the same areas
Yeah.
for work, but I mean, especially like around my area, it's a lot of trades people that are HVAC or electricians or elevator union guys. So and gals, and they're having that little bit longer ride to work. But a lot of them, in those line of work, after a few years, you get that take home vehicle, so you don't care about the fuel cost. So they're like, yeah, we'll move down there and pay a little less, and we'll just have that ride to work, or wherever
Yeah.
wherever they're working for the day, if they're on a different construction site or something.
Sure. And then my type of business, I specialize in relocation, and I relocate government officials and military. So law
We have 2
enforcement.
bases.
Yeah.
Charles County has got Indian Head Naval, and then way down in St. Mary's, where I live, farther down is the Pax River base.
Mhm.
And they have Solomon side over there in Calvert too. So a lot of that as well.
Yeah. So we are down south a lot for those folks.